Hi students, today I am going to explain the concept coordination in plants. Coordination in plants. This is one of the subtopics in coordination the linking system. Coordination the linking system. This is very important topic for board exams as well as Olympiad exams. The last year SSC board examinations in AP and TS 4 marks covered from this topic. So this topic not only for SSC board exams, it also covers in Olympiads. So today, before going to start this lesson, generally we know that animals and plants, whatever the organisms, whether they are plants or animals, they respond to stimuli. They respond to stimuli. So these responses and stimuli vary from plant to animals. In animals, there is a well developed endocrine system and nervous system is there. Due to the advancement of nervous system and endocrine system, in animals the coordination is differ. But in plants, such kind of well developed nervous system and endocrine system is absent. But even though plants also respond to stimuli, But before that, what is stimuli and what is response? Here, stimuli means detectable change in the internal or external environment. Stimuli means detectable change in the internal or external environment is called stimuli. And then what is response? Reaction to a specific stimuli. Reaction to a specific stimuli is called response. In every organism, they respond to a stimuli, whether it is animal or plant. This is one of the characteristic feature of living organisms. Here to understand easily the stimuli and response, we take one example, simple example. Example is Mimosa pudica. Mimosa pudica. Commonly it is called as attipatti or touch me not plant, chewy me plant. In this plant belongs to the family Mimosa family, and these plants have a swollen leaf base. These plants are having the swollen leaf base like this. The swollen leaf base is there. In this swollen leaf base is called pulvini. The swollen leaf base is called pulvini, and this leaf base, and here the leaf base is pulvini. In this, the cells are having large amount of water. The cells are having large amount of water and large intercellular spaces. The cells are having large amount of water and large intercellular spaces. Here in this, whenever we touch the leaves, then immediately there is an electrical impulse generated. When we touch the leaves, electrical impulse generated. That electrical impulses stimulate the hormones in the plants. These hormones helps to move the water from the pulvinus to other part of the leaf. Move the water from pulvinous cells to other part of the leaf. Then after 20 to 30 minutes, water again comes. When the water moves from one part to another part, the leaves are folded. After 20 to 30 minutes, again water comes to the pulvini, then the leaves are unfold. The leaf is erect. Because of this is a one kind of stimuli. This kind of movement is called nastic movement. In this nastic movements are non-directional. The nastic movements are non-directional and immediate response. When we touch the leaves, then immediately the leaves folded. That is immediate response. And growth independent. So these are the features of nastic movement. This kind of movement is seen in Mimosa pudica leaf, and this kind of, and also called as thigmonasty. This is also called as thigmonasty. Thigmo means touch. Thigmo means touch. In Greek origin, thigmo means touch. By touch the leaves, then immediately the leaves are folded. The leaves are folded. After 20 to 30 minutes, again the leaves are erect. So this is in plants, growth and development is well organized and well differentiated. But in plants have a the little amount of hormones are there, the chemical substances. They produce in little quantity. These chemical substances are called hormones. The hormones which are present in plants are called phytohormones. Phyton means plant. The hormones which are present in plants are called phytohormones. These phytohormones regulate the plant's growth and development. These are also called as plant growth hormones or plant growth regulators. There are 5 types of phytohormones are there. One is auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid and ethylene. What are the 5 types of phytohormones? Auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid and ethylene. These are the 5 types of phytohormones. Among these 5 types of phytohormones are categorized into 2. One is growth promoters, another one is growth inhibitors. Growth promoters, they promote the growth rate in plants. They induce the growth rate in plants. They are growth promoters. What are growth promoters? Auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins. These 3 are growth promoters. Auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins are growth promoters. And abscisic acid, simply we write as ABA, abscisic acid, and ethylene comes under growth inhibitors. Actually, ethylene could fit either growth promoter or growth inhibitor, but finally they have the growth inhibitor characters. That's why it is placed under growth inhibitors. So these first 3 are growth promoters, auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, and abscisic acid and ethylene are growth inhibitors. Let us see the effects of these hormones on plants growth and development. Effects of auxins on plant growth and development. First of all, auxins, first effect is cell elongation and differentiation of shoot and root, responsible for apical dominance. First of all, cell elongation means after the cell division, the cell is elongated. The cell is elongated like this. The cell is elongated. So the elongation of the cell, that it is caused by effect of auxins. So due to the elongation of the cell, that will lead to the increase the height of the plant. That's why it is a growth promoter. And differentiation of shoot and root. Differentiation of shoot and root. They perform a particular functions. For example, in the case of shoot, and also in the case of root. So the differentiation of these shoot and root system, that is also affected by auxins. And responsible for apical dominance. Apical means apex spot. Tip of the stem shoot. So in this, the apical dominance, the apical bud, it suppresses the growth of lateral buds. Apical buds, it suppresses the growth of lateral buds. This is called as apical dominance. Due to the presence of these auxins at the tip of the shoot, that is responsible to apical growth, and it suppresses the growth of lateral buds. So this is called as apical dominance. So whenever we cut the apex region, the chemicals are transformed into the lateral shoots, that it is leads to the branching. So these are the effects of auxins. One is cell elongation, differentiation of shoot and root, responsible for apical dominance. Next, gibberellins and their effects. Gibberellins, these are the phytohormones extracted from the fungi Gibberella of Eugeroica, and the effects are breaking the dormancy in seeds and buds. What is dormancy? Dormancy means the inability of the seeds to germinate. The inability of the seeds to germinate. So some seeds they germinate in earlier, and few of the seeds they will take more years, so many years for the germination. In such kind of seeds, whenever they are treated with these gibberellins, by treating the seeds with the gibberellins, the gibberellins they break the dormancy period. That means it breaks the resting period. Then the seeds they germinate in earlier days, So this is the way, by treating the seeds with gibberellins, it breaks the dormancy of seeds, and also dormancy in buds. And germination of seeds and sprouting of buds. Germination of seeds, after immediate breaking the dormancy of the seed, then immediately it will germinate. Then the gibberellins helps to germinate the seeds, and by the breaking the dormancy of buds, then it is useful to sprouting of buds. By breaking the dormancy in seeds and buds, it will cause to the germination of seeds and sprouting of buds. And elongation of stem. Elongation means the length, it elongates by the elongation of stems. In this elongation of stems, it is a growth promoter. By elongation of the cells, then it will cause to the growth of the plant body. And sprouting of buds, already we discussed that sprouting of buds by the breaking of seed, that is in the bud dormancy. And development of fruits. Development of fruits are also caused by gibberellins. These gibberellins are used to produce seedless fruits. These gibberellins are also used to produce seedless fruits. So these are the effects of gibberellins in plants: breaking the dormancy in seeds and buds, germination of seeds and sprouting of buds, elongation of stems and sprouting of buds, and development of fruits. These are the effects of gibberellins. Effects of cytokinins and plant growth and development. Cytokinin is also one of the plant growth promoters. Here it promotes the cell division. Due to the presence of the cytokinins in the plants, the cells they divide repeatedly. Division, it promotes the cell division. So due to the presence of the cell division, the number of cells increases in the plant body. By increasing the number of cells, the size of the organism, that means the size of the plant also increases. That is by the cytokinin. And promotion of sprouting of lateral buds. That means it breaks the apical dominance. Which phytohormone it causes to the apical dominance? Auxins. Which phytohormone is responsible for apical dominance? Auxins. But here, due to the presence of these cytokinins, it breaks the apical dominance. And that it will leads to the sprouting of lateral buds. And delaying the aging in leaves. That is also called as old age, means senescence. The aging in leaves is called senescence. Means here it delays the aging in leaves. So due to the presence of these cytokinins in the plants, they keep the leaves in fresh and green. So due to the presence of these cytokinins, the leafy vegetables are fresh. Then delaying the aging in leaves. And opening of stomata. So due to the presence of these, the stomatas are open. There are two God cells are there in this way. These two God cells, these are stomatal pore. and these are the God cells. These are the God cells. These are God cells. So the stomatus open. The opening of the stomatus is caused by the cytokinins. So what are the effects of cytokinins? Promote cell division and promotion of sprouting of lateral buds, delaying the aging in leaves, that means senescence on the leaves, opening of stomatas. Which hormone, which phytohormone is responsible for opening of the stomatas? Yes, cytokinins. Next, abscisic acid. In the abscisic acid and their functions, effects on the plant's growth and development. This abscisic acid is a growth inhibitor. Abscisic acid is a growth inhibitor. Here, it is responsible for closing of stomata, which is responsible for closing of stomata. This is the question AP 2019 SSC question. Which phytohormone is responsible for closing of stomata? Answer is abscisic acid in AP SSC 2019 question. Then closing during the water stress conditions. During the water stress conditions, the stomatas are closed. The stomata, that means the God cells are closed. The stomatal pores are closed to avoid the excess transpiration, to avoid the rate of transpiration, and also it will avoids the wilting. It avoids the wilting of the plant. Then seed dormancy, that means under unfavorable conditions, the seeds are avoid desiccation. The seeds are avoid from the desiccation during unfavorable conditions. That is seed dormancy. And promoting aging of leaves. Generally, aging of leaves means senescence. It promotes the aging of leaves. Before leaf fall, the leaves turns into yellow in color. Before leaf fall, the leaves turns into yellow in color. So this is the, if the abscisic acid more in the plants, that will leads to the, that will causes to the premature, that means leaf fall. Leaf fall. So that's why it is growth inhibitor. Effects are closing of stomata, seed dormancy, that means in under unfavorable conditions. Under unfavorable conditions, the seeds are in dormant conditions, and promoting aging of leaves. Promoting aging of means senescence of the leaves. And next, another one more phytohormone is ethylene. Ethylene. This is a gaseous hormone. Ethylene is a gaseous hormone which is responsible for ripening of fruits. Which is responsible for ripening of fruits. Generally, whenever we keep the one rotten, that means the ripened mango in unripened mangoes, then after 2 to 3 days, then you will find that all the mangoes are ripened. So due to that, the ripened mango that releases some volatile gases, that means volatile gases, that means the ethylene, then this ethylene is responsible for the ripening of the fruits. Ripening of the fruits. These are all the phytohormones. There are 5 phytohormones are there. One is auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid and ethylene. Here in the last year, Telangana State 2019, question number 15. Question number 15, 4 mark question. Write about the phytohormones and their role in the plant's growth and development. Now the auxins, already you know that auxins are responsible for the plant growth and development. This is a plant growth promoter. So these auxins are present at the tip of the shoots and tip of the roots. Here Charles Darwin and his son Francis Darwin conducts an experiment to prove the phototropism. He conducted experiments on the canary grass coleoptiles. At the tip of the canary grass coleoptiles, the plant tips, it covered by a aluminum foil. It covers by a aluminum foil, and the light rays the passes in one side, but there is no bending towards the direction of light. After that, whenever you remove the foil or else or otherwise the light rays passes through this one, the bending of stem that takes place towards the direction of light. So this bending takes place by an factor, one kind of an influence. There is an influence which is responsible to bend the stem towards the light. That influence is transmitted from tip to bottom, tip to base, that is in the basipetaline direction. But what is influence? That influence was first identified by F.W. Wendt in the year of 1926. he was a Dutch plant physiologist. Dutch plant physiologist. That influence is a auxin. That influence is a auxin. He conducted an experiments on Avena sativa coleoptiles. Commonly it is called oat plants. In these oat plants, here he cut the tip of a, this is a shoot tip. He cut the tip of a shoot. These tips are placed on agar. These tips are placed on agar. This is agar. This is a shoot tip. The tips are placed on agar. Whatever the chemicals are present in these tip of the shoot, the diffuses into the agar. After that, the agar cuts into a blocks. And placed this agar block on a decapitated tip. This is a decapitated shoot. Placed this agar and a decapitated shoot. Placed this agar in a decapitated shoot. This is agar block. So take the one agar block. This agar block is placed on the decapitated tip of the shoot in asymmetrically. So after 1 hour, he found that the plant bends towards the direction where it kept the agar block, because whatever the chemicals are there in the agar block, the diffuses in this direction from the transported through from the top to bottom. So these are responsible for the increase the size of the cell. These auxins responsible for increase the size of the cell. That means like this, the cells are elongated in this one. The cells are elongated like this towards the direction of where we place the agar block. So by that he concluded that influence is auxin. These auxins they transported from tip to base, that is in basipetal direction. So auxin is a first plant hormone. This is a first plant hormone. In Greek, auxin means to increase. In Greek, auxin means to increase. Like this, the auxins are described by F.W. Wendt. Tropic movements. In these tropic movements, the characters are directional. And the response is slow comparatively the nastic movements, and growth dependent. There are different types of tropic movements are there. One is phototropism, geotropism, hydrotropism, thigmotropism and chemotropism. Photo means light, tropism means movement. Photo means light, tropism means movement. In this phototropism, they respond to light. Already we know that Charles Darwin and Francis Darwin conducted experiments on phototropism. The stems bend towards the light. To understand this, when we keep the potted plant near the window, then after that, after 1 week, then we will find the stem bends towards the direction of light. The responsible factor is auxins. Auxins are present at the tip of the shoot. When we keep the plant near the window, the plant bends towards the light direction. That is a phototropism. And next one is geotropism. Geo means earth, that gravity. Generally roots grows towards the gravity. Positive geotropism. Shoot, it is positive phototropism. So to understand this phototropism and geotropism, with a simple experiments, take a potted plant, and at first the roots are in towards the soil direction, and the shoot it is in the towards the light, that means in the away from the gravity. And the next, tilt the potted plant, then like this. These are the roots. At first the roots and the shoot are in horizontal position. Then after 1 week we will observe that after 1 week, the roots bend towards the gravity and shoot bend towards the sunlight. The roots bend towards the gravity. Here, the roots bending towards the gravity, towards the direction of soil, and the shoot bend towards the direction of light. So, this is also one of the example of phototropism and geotropism. This is a phototropism and this is geotropism. And the next, hydrotropism, it responds to water. Hydrotropism, it responds to water. The plants, they grow near the rocks or near the walls. The roots, they directed towards the direction of available water. The roots, they passes through the direction of available water. This kind of response is called hydrotropism. That means response to water, response to water. And thigmotropism. In thigmotropism, thigmo means touch. In some plants, means some weak stemmed plants. In some weak stemmed plants, there is no erect. The plants are not erect. So, in such a kind of plants, there is a wire-like structures, thin wire-like structures are there. These are called as tendrils. Example in cucurbits. In these plants, the tendrils, they develop from the leaves or else from the stems. The tendrils, they touch the support. They touch the support. The tendrils, they touch the support. By the support, the plants erect. This kind of tropism is called thigmotropism. This is seen in weak stemmed plants. This is seen in weak stemmed plants. And the next one is chemotropism. At last, in this chemotropism, so this is the carpel, the innermost whorl of the flower. It consists of stigma, style and ovary. The stigma, it secretes sugars. Stigma secretes sugars. These sugars, whenever the pollen grains drop on the stigma, when the pollen grains drop on the stigma, the sugars, they stimulate the pollen grains. Then these pollen grains germinate and the pollen tube, it passes. The pollen tube passes through the style and enters into the ovule. And enters into the ovule through this micropyle. So, these pollen grains are responded by the sugars which are secreted at the stigma region. So, this is an example of chemotropism. Like this, the tropic movements are phototropism, geotropism, hydrotropism, thigmotropism and chemotropism. In this way, the phytohormones, they controls the plant growth and development.